Okay, you've joined me today at Embryo Kiveton Waters. Now this is a great little complex with loads of fish in it, and they've recently done some new stocking. And you know what happens when you get some new fish, don't you? They absolutely love pellets. Now, I love a bit of pellet fishing, but when I was, I remember spending a long time trying to get this right with pellet fishing, and it was using a cad pot and not throwing my bait all over the lake. Because the trouble is, if you spill even 2 or 3 pellets somewhere else, you're splitting up your fish, you're putting more bait elsewhere, because we're not looking to pile loads of bait in at the moment. We're looking to keep things nice and tight. So I've got a few tips for you guys, because I've got to be honest, I was useless at this when it first started out. I just couldn't get it right. I couldn't get to be nice and smooth, and it put me off using little pots. And I probably can imagine that some of you guys are the same. You may be reluctant to use a pot because you're not too sure how to get the best from it. So I've picked like a classic fishing setup, if you like. I'm going to try and fish 14.5 meters. So I'm going to try and fish a little bit further for you. I'm just going to show you some of the things that I do that I think are a real advantage. Now, I think first of all, we should start off with the easy option, right? And that is soft pellets. So I'm just going to clip the lid off here. That's one of the nice things about the pots. I can just clip the lid off. So I'm just going to clip this lid off for now. Now, when I'm using soft pellets, imagine I want to sort of feed, I don't know, 50, 100 soft pellets, something like that. Don't forget I'm carp fishing today, so I don't need to be super negative. The best thing about having soft pellets is you can actually push them in the cup themselves. So the cups have all got like little slots and holes in, and that allows the water in. That's really important to get your pellets out. So let's just put a few pellets in the bottom there. And this is the key. If you watch me here, I'm just literally get my thumb and I push down on the pellets, almost like pushing them into the cup. You can push them quite firmly. Look how firmly I've pushed them down there, all right? If it was full to the brim, I wouldn't need to push it quite as firmly, but for sort of like 100 pellets, that's how I want to push it down. Now, I'm just going to put my expander on the hook. Fancying an expander for a few bites today. Once I've got my pellets in there, don't want to dip that in the water or anything just yet. The next key is getting everything right with your pole. Now, if you're using a long pole, you want 2 rollers. Got my 2 rollers set up today, and this is the perfect scenario. My pole is on my lap here, right, touching my lap, and the pole is on the 2 rollers. So with no hands at all, everything is perfectly level. And it might take you a little bit of time. Get on your box, just adjust your rollers, push one down at the back, get everything right while you're setting up, because when you're shipping out, it'll be so much easier. So watch. All I'm doing is trying to almost just, I'm not even using my hands on the pole. I'm almost just using the weight along my lap to control the pole. So it's off the back roller now. Now we're on the main roller. Now, obviously, I'm starting to push down on my lap and just use my leg. And I'm sort of over-exaggerating this to show everything is nice and smooth across my leg. Just keep pushing it out, using the leg as the balance. Now that means the whole way out, everything's nice and flat. Now when you're out there, what you can do is just turn this pot over and touch it on the water. Now, because it's got all the holes in like that, that will free up all those pellets on there, which allow me just to look, tap them out, absolutely bang on the money. Now, if I'm fishing somewhere like this with carp, especially this sort of springtime now, soft pellets are fantastic, because the fish are they're just starting to have a little bit of a munch now, and they absolutely love a few pellets. So being nice and accurate with your feed, keeping everything nice and tight, the fish absolutely love it. And soft pellets are great, and you can do the same with softened 4s. You can do the same with obviously softened 6s if you want to. Anything where the bait is a little bit softer, you can do it. Now, I'm desperate to sit here because I want to catch one, but I know you guys want to see the next step. So if I bring the rig in, again, just back onto the rollers, and look, you can see just passing it over the rollers nicely, and then there. Now, if you're on a sort of venue and you think, no, Lee, I want to fish with hard pellets, I want that harder bait, there is a few things that you can do to help yourself. So first of all, get the right lid. I absolutely love the lid with a small hole in the middle. They just click on like this. Okay, dead easy to use. And I'm going to get few hard 4 mil pellets here. I literally only want to feed probably like a dozen, I would say. So I'm just going to put a dozen or so in. Now, if I try to ship them out now, they are going to bounce around. So the most important thing to do, in my opinion, is just to give that pole pot a little dip in the water. And what that does, it almost like acts as a bit of a vacuum. It just stops those pellets bouncing about. Because they're absolutely rock hard, that little bit of water almost just sort of holds them all together. And you can see, nice and smooth across my leg, paying attention to that blue lid. I like having the colour on the lid because it allows me to see. And there you go, look, I can ship right out, right to where I want, turn that over. Look at that, literally a dozen pellets right on the money, and lay my rig in. So getting the best from your pots is all about getting your pole rollers right behind you, getting yourself nice and comfortable, and making sure that you're using the right pot for the right amount of bait. Now, if I was using maggots or casters, the same principle applies with dropping it in the water. So what I would do is I'd load up the pot and dunk the pot in the water. We've spent a lot of time making sure all the holes are right in the pot. There's slightly bigger holes at the bottom, obviously smaller holes around the side, which just allows the water to go in there and almost like suck the bait, hold the bait into position. So don't be scared of using your cad pots this spring, because they are an absolutely deadly tool for catching lots of fish. But doing all those little things will make your life so much easier, and no doubt it'll make everything simpler and hopefully catch a few more fish.